Today has been an eventful day. We have to actually say that. Some comes out saying, okay, this is just fake news. Some says, no, it's not. If you actually look at this, you're paying money, you're going in, and you still get that in the government website. So that for me is like, okay, there is something in it. Just the BTC maxis are coming out saying, okay, don't trust this. It's not something we need to look at. What we need to look at is what the market is doing. I'm like, okay, we've been above this trend line for some time. Now we broke higher. Great, there is a lot of volatility. I agree. But if we just take a step in, zoom in, do you see that coming back below that? I'm like, okay, we broke higher, there was news, there was volatility, but what exactly are we doing? So if you actually take a different perspective, going through the market, looking at Bitcoin, looking at XRP to Bitcoin, remember what we talked in the yesterday's video, saying we're going to come down and then we should bounce up. That's how we play the history back. Now here we are already halfway through that, and we are already getting signal that the market want to go back up. Now, volatility is something everyone wants to make money. So these kind of long wicks, they will come because the next direction, that's what they're showing you here. So I'm like, yeah, the next direction, that's exactly what they're showing you. But it may not happen on the same day or the next day. You may need few candles to play out. So if you do have patience, this is exactly what we are watching for. Now think about this. Last time this happened, it was the big run up in 2021. Now, back then, you had a bigger range to play out to reach the resistance. Today, you don't. That means XRP breaking through this one is going to be a huge move in USD. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. When I say it was an eventful day, I mean this. Last 28-30 hours has been so eventful. We had to prepare ourselves, closing some positions, taking profits, keeping dry powder, moving in and out. We're watching a lot of different things. Now, yes, some actually do take bigger leverage, and they've made it big from $350, $360, all the way up to $6.5. That was great. But again, the point is, if you actually understand the market, you're like, okay, I'm positioning myself. So it was early in the morning when we actually did this. Right now, after 12, 13 hours, the market has done what we expected. So if you are levered 3x, that means a 10% drop in the market gave you a 30% opportunity. You bought in more units with the same amount of money just by positioning yourself correctly. And that's why I say, observe the market. Today, I even dropped a video update for the SI family in the group so that you guys know this is exactly what's happening, what you should be looking for, right? Now, let's break things down. First, we'll look at Bitcoin, and then we'll jump onto XRP, Bitcoin, and then to XRP. So first, you have the basic understanding of what's happening, and then we will break down XRP. Now, say this is a daily chart. On a daily, Bitcoin is showing you something. What is it? So you go on the RSI first, you want to see what exactly is the trend showing you. Am I actually breaking to the downside? Am I actually riding this to the upside? What exactly is happening? For me, this means you still have some room to cool down. That is okay. But that does not mean you have a long way to downside. You can just stay there and consolidate, and still the RSI will move. That is something you need to keep in mind. So first thing is the micro trend line. If you actually plot this, this is your micro trend line. So I won't be, surprised to see the price coming back to 35,800, because it also happens to be the wick high here. The resistance should turn into a support. Say you remove that and you just look at this. This is the trend. You're making higher highs. You're making higher highs. Unless you change that, don't go negative. Say, when you're actually literally putting in higher highs, you don't actually have to be negative. Yes, you may still get something like this while going back to the trend line and then bouncing back up. Sure, those kind of things, you cannot neglect them. So for that, how do you prepare yourself? You need to look for the market. What's the macro market like? How low should I look at if that thing is to drop? Great. So that's the worst case scenario. You are looking at this and saying, okay, this is a trend line. If I'm to drop, where will I go down to? Personally, I would say this support that has turned into a huge resistance here. So next time when we come back down, this should be a big level of support here. So I expect a bounce from there. Now, is it too big of a correction? I really don't think so. Now, why is that? Because from this level, you're just talking about a 12-13% correction. Do you remember the history? This is a big part of it. Because if you do, now you're not arguing with the history saying, okay, I don't think this is going to go down. I don't think this is going to go up kind of thing. If you look at this, you just take one chart, say on a daily, and you're looking at this asking like, how much did I drop now? It's just barely 5%. That's nothing. So you zoom out and ask this question. When you're trending higher, now keep this in mind. If you want to take a macro, it would help you a bit more. Say we take a weekly. On the weekly chart, what are we really looking at here? The RSI is somewhere in this territory of overbought region. So if you want to break it down to a 3-day, this is where you are. This is exactly where you are. Now go back in history. Whenever you have been in these territories, in terms of the strength, when you dropped, how much did you actually drop? 18, say 20. Okay. Next time, how much was that? 17, 18, say, okay, somewhat like 18 to 20%. Next time, after running a big, how much did you drop? 28%. So if you don't want to go through this volatility in between, you're not going to get that big of a run up. The market will show you where it's going. When there is a divergence, the market tells you, okay, I'm diverging from where we are. That's here. At that point, okay, great. Take your profits, run after the market. It's up to you. But till that point, what you are looking for is the trend. Trend is your friend. You're looking for the trend. As soon as that breaks, fine, you move out. Now, take that, jump onto XRP BTC. We are huge XRP fans here. So we are looking at this. What's the measured move here? Last time, we were not listed in a lot of different exchanges, but still we kind of did 5x against Bitcoin. This time, you only have 50% till that resistance, which means after that break, now you have around 470% above that. So you plot that and you say, okay, where does that actually take me? And you want to see historically, when did we actually reach to those territories? So 470% after the break would take you somewhere here, which means from the current price, that should be somewhat like a 700% move. If you go back in history, that number is way above the first run up in 2014, then coming close to the ranges which we have seen in 2017. That is a decent move up. Now we've consolidated so long, this kind of a burst should not be a surprise for all of us. Now, say you go on a weekly, you want to actually look at this and ask the question like, okay, do we still see same amount of bullishness? Do we still have that amount of momentum? That is what you want to actually know. So here on a monthly chart, the XRP Bitcoin is showing you each time I'm having big candles, I'm having a big candle to the upside. Here, this was the one time you had a big candle to the downside where bears were controlling. After that, it changed. You just started moving up. So since then, bears are really slow compared to the bulls. Since then, bears are really slow compared to the bulls. So here, this one going above this range should not be a surprise. And that's exactly what the weekly chart is showing you. So now, the macro narrative on a monthly agrees with the micro narrative on a weekly. Now the same, the micro narrative on a weekly is completely agreeing with a nano narrative or a short-term narrative in a 3-day chart or a daily chart. That is where you look for opportunities. When it's at support, you buy because you know it's going to go back up close to resistance. Yeah, you can take profit and wait for a breakout, which gives you a confirmation of which direction we're headed. Now take this into XRP USD. This is where the concerns are, where people are still like, no, this is going to go back down. This is going to go back down to 0.3. A lot of different arguments are in the market. Let me explain what I think. This range is something which we have gone through a lot of different times. But what you do have to keep in mind, is before we broke that, we gave a textbook pattern, the W, that's the double bottom. Now, when you have all this volatility, you want to see, okay, when you break it down, the volatility looks like what, right? The question really comes back, what the hell, right? That comes in. Now, this is where we are. We haven't actually, reached a territory where it's so bad. If you put this on a 12-hour or a 4-hour chart to see the trend line, we're still there. And I'm like, okay, that's great, considering that the Bitcoin has been pushing the markets down with a lot of coins going down that way. You're watching XRP holding strong. That's big, actually. That's a big, if you consider Bitcoin slowing down just that small tiny bit. This is what we're talking about. This movement here in Bitcoin created all those havoc in the altcoins. XRP is still strong. You're still here. You are not breaking through that trend line. That for me is a statement. The market or the big guys, the whales, are making a statement. When this bounces, you're going to watch a good pop. Now, yes, you can look for around 1.3 to 1.5 for the first level, then 1.8 to 2.2 as the next level. All of this is going to create a movement where FOMO will enter. But when will we start this? That's one of the biggest questions everyone asks. And I'm like, I don't have a crystal ball, but if we focus on the RSI, say when we bounce off from the RSI, I would look for that. If you come close to this and then bounce off, I would certainly look for that. Now, when should the big run up come, right? This is the move I'm talking about towards $1. The next one, which I'm looking at, is like, okay, when can we really go up towards 1.8 to $2? I would say, okay, this is something we really want to make sure. If the resistance is turning into a support here and we bounce back from there, it is going to be something of my interest, saying, okay, we are taking off, guys. Because now that's a daily chart. You need to take that into a 3-day, asking the question, are you having a divergence? At that point, no, you still don't have any divergence. The RSI on a 3-day is showing you this. What does that mean? It's a trend to the upside. You're trending to the upside. Unless you have a new confirmation of a trend reversal or a divergence, you don't have to go negative. Now, take that onto a weekly or monthly, whichever you prefer as a long-term guy. This is exactly what's happening. Last time we talked about this, saying, okay, we broke back. Now what? We need to retest this. We need to retest this and bounce off. We have seen that here. We went back up, we retested that and then bounced off. That bounce off was not small. Look at this. When we were retesting, the price was where? The price was here. So from 0.37, you went up to $2. That was a 600% move without big exchanges. That was 600% move with SEC lawsuit. Process that information correctly, then you literally put the argument, okay, even if we are going to do this, that should be way bigger than what we have seen here. That's how we process the information. That's how we look at the market. That's why I'm saying opportunities are running everywhere. Say, if you actually go into the market, there is something like, say, look at BGB. It's up for the day when the entire market is slow. I posted earlier today saying, watch this. I think there is an opportunity evolving. That was like 11 hours before all this havoc actually came in. I gave you guys this idea. And now we are watching that, yeah, in top 100, that's the best performing asset today. So if you want to get these kind of updates for a lot of these assets and the entire market, the market structure, all of these assets, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where you can join to watch this, and depending on your tier, you can get a one-on-one session with me to discuss about your portfolio and what I think about it. Now, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, I would request you, please do that favor to me. Before we jump on, we would also have to understand the fact that the market cap is important. You have to understand the market right now is $1.43 trillion. That's huge, meaning 40% increase in the total market cap. 430 billion came into the market. You're not dropping back to a trillion. We're staying here. The new money which came in, it's now rotating within the market, and new money is still entering the market. That's exciting. We're now watching for 1.5 trillion. 2 trillion, 2.5, 5, that's how we go. We will watch that going. So until the big money is not moving out, you should be in the market. If it's me, I would stay in the market. Now, you can decide for yourself, but remember, this market structure leads you to which direction? Something like this. It's your choice whether you want to ride it or you want to remove that narrative. Because when we are coming back to the support, 1, 2, 3, this is the 4th time. Maybe we are going to break to the downside. I don't know. But last 3 times we bounced off that trend line. So I would say, okay, let's wait for the confirmation. If it's breaking lower, okay, that's what it is. But if it is bouncing, you need to understand, okay, there is another leg up before we go down for a corrective session. So guys, prepare yourself, be live in the market. If you want great updates, you can follow the SI family. We have a lot of people taking benefit of that. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.